Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Christine with Pattercrafts, and today we are going to do something a little bit different. This is just a Arteza real brush pen creating a scene using the stamp set here from CC Designs. It's called Creepy Crawlies. I do believe this is a retired set, but it is one of the only Halloween sets I have. Also using some archival ink because it's waterproof. We have some watercolor paper, my Misty. I'm using 3 different size water brushes, and I have the set of 48 Arteza real brush pens. So I'm going to go in here and we're going to grab a piece of watercolor paper. Now the reason I'm using my Misty is because this watercolor paper is textured, and I do end up having to stamp the images several times. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out the images. I am using all 3. I call them little trick-or-treaters because in my mind, in this scene, they are trick-or-treating. So now I'm just deciding how I want them to be laid out on this watercolor paper. So it kind of looks to me like these two are chatting about something, and then this one here is like, hey guys, let's go. Because it kind of looks like he's running and looking back at them. So this is how I line them up. So we're going to go ahead and stamp out these images. And like I said, this paper has a lot of texture to it. So I do have to stamp it. I think I stamped these out like a total of 4 times. Because not only is it textured, but there's kind of a lot of detail with these images. So I want to make sure that all the lines are really crisp, especially since we'll be using the Arteza pens to color them in and using water. So I really want them to stand out. Now I have done some coloring with these pens recently. I've been doing a lot of colorings with them, and I have found so far the only paper in my stash that really works with these, where you can use the water to kind of spread the color, is watercolor paper. I do have some Bristol smooth paper because I'd heard some crafters using that, and I found for me that only worked if I was laying the color directly down and not really doing a lot of blending with water. It doesn't, I have also used the Recollections 110 pound cardstock. That does not do any. It's almost like with that cardstock, the ink gets absorbed so fast into the paper, you can't move it around. So if you are interested in these, I would recommend, at least for a beginner, to use watercolor paper. So far I've found that works the best for me. So we have our 3 little images already stamped out, and I am going to zoom in, and it might be a little too close in some points because I do go off camera at one point, but we are going to go ahead and get started coloring in these images. Unfortunately, this was kind of an experiment, and I wasn't sure if I was going to post this video. I did record it, but I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out when I started. I was really pleased with the end result, so I am posting the video. But unfortunately, I did not write down which color of the pens that I used for wear. So I do apologize that I cannot tell you what colors I am using. Now the set of 48 does have a variety of different like gray tones. So you'll see the different tones throughout this video. So right now we're coloring in her shirt with like a red and an orange. And I've used one of the gray colors for the spider part of her outfit. So now I'm going in with a different gray marker for our little bat here. Now I do find that you kind of have to lay your color down and bring your water brush right to it if you want to be able to really move the color around. I also use an acrylic block, so that way I can add some color without having to actually lay, you know, the marker down, which would just provide a darker line. So like if you wanted to just add a little bit more color, it's really great to just use the acrylic block. In this case, like with the wings of his costume, I add this purple, but it's a little bright. So I just bring in a little bit of that gray to kind of go over the top of that purple to just kind of tone that brightness down a little bit. And I was super happy with this little guy's costume. I thought the purple with that color gray marker, and I apologize, sometimes I'll call these pens, sometimes I call them markers. Using one of the lightest grays for our little guy here that's dressed as a skeleton, just adding that all around the cape part, coloring in his shoes, and now we'll use one of the brown markers to color in his hair. I use more of a reddish brown for the bat boy's hair, which unfortunately you cannot see that coloring. I apologize. And we're going to bring in some yellow for this girl's hair, but it was super bright, so I did bring in a little bit of the brown from the little skeleton boy and just kind of add that to various areas on her hair and kind of spread it out. And I did use that not direct but on a block, and then kind of brought it in so I could dilute it a little bit. So just using a dark gray marker for the inside of their mouths, and I did use a super light blue for the skeleton pieces on the other costume. So bringing in some skin tones and adding a little pink to each one of their cheeks. Just adding color to the outside and just bringing the color to the inside for each one of them. I think these pens are really great to being able to bring in like some shaded areas. So now I'm going ahead and making the sidewalk that these guys are all on. I did make an error below, so I quickly just brought in some water to kind of wash away that extra dark line that I had put on. So right now I'm just adding this color to the sidewalk. I'm using a thicker water brush pen, and I'm doing it with a block so that way I can just add color quickly. And then once I'm done that, I'll bring that pen directly to the cardstock again and just darken up those lines. So now I'm using lots of different green colors, and I'm just making some V's all along the edge of that sidewalk and even in the lines on the sidewalk. Just creating some V's for some grass. And then I'm going to go on and use the sky. So I'm using a light purple. Being careful not to mix too much into the grass so that I don't pull any of the green into the sky. And same with around our trick-or-treaters. I need to be very careful around them so that I don't accidentally pull some of the color from them into that sky scene that I don't want. Now I'm using a light blue like a color here, and I am mixing it a little bit with the purple where the purple and the blue would come together. And then as I go higher and higher up into the sky, the colors are going to get a little bit darker and darker. And I'm kind of being really messy laying this color down. But I'm okay with it because it's supposed to kind of, it's supposed to give a watercolor effect, and that's what I'm just going to do. I just want to lay it down kind of messily. Now I'm going to take the heat gun to it to dry that really nicely because I'm bringing in a white gel pen. And I will also bring in a silvery, glittery gel pen and add stars to the sky. And then I'll just do a couple final touch-ups, but that's it for this panel. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video and you'd like to see more, please hit that subscribe button. But until next time, bye.